Chapter 135, Northern Dark Ice Soul, 10 Extreme Talents. Translator, Sky Pharaoh. Editor, Sky Pharaoh. What? Xianglin was stunned. Plunder goo. There is only one person that has this goo worm in Qingmao Mountain, and that is my cousin Xiongzhan. Xiongzhang's face turned gloomy. Xiongli closed his eyes, fierce light flickering in them. Others might be afraid of Binding Bing, and even he was afraid, but this fear didn't represent his weakness and cowardice. In his heart long was there already thoughts of sacrificing himself for the clan. He had the resolution to fight to the death with Binding Bing. Binding Bing, is the plunder goo in your possession? He stepped forward and faced Binding Bing, letting Fang Yuan brush past him. Binding Bing laughed coldly. So what if it is? Xiongzhang's face was as gloomy as water and asked, Tell me, how did my cousin die? Why is his goo worm in your hands? Xianglin also asked, Binding Bing, I respect you as my senior, but you secretly seized our Xiong clan's goo worm and didn't hand it over. This is an open violation of the alliance treaty. After he spoke, he raised a signal goo in his hand. With a bang, bright fireworks burst in the sky. The colorful light from the fireworks shone upon Binding Bing's face. He laughed. I have never cared about the dog shit alliance treaty. I only saw someone using the plunder goo and thought it was interesting, so I collected it. Xiongzhang was unable to hold back his anger when he heard this. He gave a furious shout and charged towards Binding Bing. Binding Bing, you looked while my cousin fought to death and didn't help. You bastard! The five-person group was an integral whole. For personal or private reasons, the Xiongli group were irreconcilable with Binding Bing. The fight was hard to avoid, the scene immediately turning chaotic. On one side was Binding Bing facing the Xiongli group's attack. On the other side, they were surrounded by wolf pack and still had to face their attacks. Fang Yuan left the battlefield and calmly spectated from far away. The wolf pack moved together like a large millstone, and the 6 goo masters fought with their lives. The slightest carelessness could land them into the wolves' mouths. Xiongzhang used roaming zombie goo, his 2 irises turning gloomy green. Xiangli's 2 eyes were red, whereas Binding Bing's pair of pupils were azure like crystals. The fight between these 3 was the most intense in the battlefield. Under the roaming zombie goo's ability, Xiongzhang turned into a zombie. His defense was amplified against water and ice, withstanding Binding Bing's attacks. Xiongli used Grand Bear Goo. With the strength of 2 bears, his bull-sized fists were without rival, and even Binding Bing's water barrier was destroyed under their attacks. It wasn't easy for the remaining 3 group members to meddle in this fight. They could only do their utmost to fight against the lightning wolves. That bold lightning wolf lured in by Fang Yuan could have been easily dealt with, but it had turned into a huge threat now. Binding Bing, you will pay for what you have done, Xiongzhang shouted and charged at Binding Bing. Just with you? Binding Bing coldly smiled. He nimbly jumped back, pulling apart some distance, and flung out his left hand, throwing out 5 finger-sized icicles. The icicles struck Xiongzhang's body, but Xiongzhang didn't feel any pain whatsoever. When he turned into a zombie, even if his hands and legs were broken, he wouldn't feel any pain. The cold aura in the icicles could freeze and slow down ordinary people's movements, but it only felt cool and refreshing to Xiongzhang. Zombie physique belonged to yin physiques. It had low resistance to fire, lightning, and sunlight, but was very powerful against this type of cold aura. Binding Bing, you are still playing in this situation? Unleash your true strength, Xiongli furiously shouted. Binding Bing had been suppressing his cultivation base to rank 2 from the very beginning, and was also mostly using rank 2 Guye. Xiongli felt like he was being held in contempt. He felt humiliated, which caused his anger to burn even more. Ha ha ha, how can you minor characters have the qualifications to make me use my full strength? Binding Bing coldly laughed. His attacks were becoming more powerful, but he was still suppressing his strength and didn't use a rank 3 Guworm. Fang Yuan, who was spectating from afar with his hands crossed, clearly understood the reason. It is not that he doesn't want to unleash his true strength, but he cannot use it. Binding Bing, he has northern dark ice soul physique. In the oldest legends of this world, all humans are descendants of Renzu. But as the saying goes, the dragon has 9 unique sons. There are no two absolutely same people, and even twins have differences. In this world, the difference that is of the biggest concern is aptitude. Those that have the aptitude to cultivate could become Gu masters, going beyond ordinary. Those with no cultivation aptitude were just mortals, the lowest level in the society who could be trampled upon and played with. Cultivation aptitudes were divided into 4 grades: A grade, B grade, C grade, and D grade. Everyone knew this. But actually there were still more outstanding aptitudes above A grade. This was a secret. Clans would never carelessly spread this, and only after reaching a certain status in society could one know this secret. Xiong Li and the rest naturally didn't know. Even elders and clan leaders might not know. But Fang Yuan, who had reached rank 6 in his previous life, shedding his mortal body and becoming a Gu immortal, naturally was aware of this. There were 10 types of aptitudes above A grade, and they were collectively called 10 extreme physiques. Before Renzu died, he gave birth to 10 children. The eldest son, verdant great sun; second daughter, desolate ancient moon. Among the 10 there was one named Northern Dark Ice Soul. Renzu's legends, whether real or false, alluded to many secrets in Gu Master's cultivation. Renzu's 10 kids individually represented 10 types of ultimate aptitudes. Fang Yuan recalled. Any one of the 10 extreme physiques is superior to A-grade aptitude. The most excellent A-grade aptitude can only store 99% primeval essence in their aperture. But any one of the 10 extreme physiques holds full 100% primeval essence in their aperture. However, everything exists in balance. The 10 extreme physiques which holds 100% primeval essence is too perfect, and heavens won't easily allow their existence. For instance, in Renzu's story, his 10 kids didn't have a long life. In reality, it is difficult for the Gu masters who hold 10 extreme physiques to grow and mature, almost all dying an untimely death. Of course, if they can really grow to become a rank 6, they will be able to sweep through same-stage opponents and even perform miracles such as fighting a higher rank. Binding Bing, who possesses Northern Dark Ice Soul, is the same. With 100% primeval essence, his aperture is too stressed out and has the risk of collapsing any moment. To decrease this risk, Binding Bing must cultivate and use primeval essence to nurture his aperture walls and increase its strength to be able to support the 100% primeval essence. Thus, his cultivation speed is outstanding and shocking. However, high cultivation means higher quality primeval essence, which subsequently increases the pressure on the aperture, instead increasing the risk. Binding Bing is like a victim in a lone boat in the sea. He doesn't have fresh water and can only drink the seawater to relieve his thirst. But the seawater is salty and will absorb the original moisture content of the body instead, making him even more thirsty. The higher his cultivation is, the nearer he is to destruction. Yet he cannot choose not to cultivate, since being from Bai village and the one upon whom the clan's expectations lies, he will also face assassination from Xiong and Guyue village. This forces him to continue to grow stronger. Being the possessor of the Northern Dark Ice Soul, he clearly understands his situation. Knowing he doesn't have much time left, and his death being certain, he has thus formed this temperament. Oh, Fang Yuan sighed when he thought of this. This was clearly an irony. Excessively excellent aptitude didn't lead a Gu master to have a meteoric rise, but would be the main culprit behind their deaths. Too much is as bad as too little. People need to drink water and eat food, but if they eat and drink excessively, they could die. From another angle, no matter which world, there is no true perfection. There is no perfect love, no perfect work. Excessively perfect will just lead to destruction. In Fang Yuan's previous life, 3 years after the wolf tide, Binding Bing's cultivation inevitably reached rank 4 realm. His aperture couldn't support the burden from the primeval essence, and ultimately, it exploded. 10 extreme physiques wasn't tolerated by the heavens and earth, and the self-detonation of such a heaven-defying thing was like the most perfect song, its power outstanding, directly annihilating everyone in the 3 villages and turning the whole Qingmao Mountain into an absolute death ice domain. Fortunately, by that time, because of Fang Zhong, who had been making things difficult for Fang Yuan, who only had an average cultivation, Fang Yuan could only join a caravan to go away, thus luckily avoiding this disaster. To delay his death, Bai Ningbing used goo worms to dilute his rank 3 silver primeval essence into rank 2 red steel primeval essence of his own accord. He also rarely used rank 3 goo worms at the same time. This was simply because rank 3 goo worms consumed great amounts of red steel primeval essence every time, resulting in the strength waning if it continued. Instead, it was better to continue using rank 2 goo worms, which would be of much more help to Bai Ningbing in battles. This was the real reason Bai Ningbing suppressed his cultivation. If not, having strength but choosing to bind one's own hands and feet, landing in a dangerous state, was something only a brainless retard would do. Bai Ningbing was smart and intelligent. He had received great training and education, so how could he do such a foolish thing? Except such a temperament at his young age was indeed unusual. But as someone who was about to die, why would he have misgivings in his behavior? Such disregard and fearlessness prevented him from being assimilated into the system and nurtured a heart of the demonic path in him. Otherwise, with his living environment, countless expectations, great trainings, holding honor, fighting enemies, bright future, he would have already been assimilated into the organization's system and nurtured a leader's temperament. Bai Ningbing was actually a pitiful child, and Fang Yuan had no wish to deal with him before. But since he wanted to kill Fang Yuan also didn't mind making use of him first before removing this misfortune early. The battle was still continuing. In this while, the situation had already changed. Bold Lightning Wolf was killed by Bai Ningbing, and the wolf pack had ran away in defeat. Xiongli Group's healing Goo Master fell under Bai Ningbing's blade, but he had paid a heavy price for this. His right arm was viciously punched by Xiongli, and it seemed to have fractured as it was hanging limply throughout the battle. However, all of these couldn't hinder him from occupying the upper hand. Xiongli was a top elite amongst rank 2 Goo Masters, his strength equal to Qing Shu and Qi Shan. Xiong Zhang was a newly rising defense expert. Xiong Lin was the genius newbie, and now had rank 2 battle power. There was also another Goo Master, but even after combining their strength, these 4 were still suppressed by Bai Ningbing. One should know Bai Ningbing had already fought a battle before which had consumed a lot of his red steel primeval essence. He also killed Bold Lightning Wolf and the healing Goo Master, resulting in his right arm losing its ability to move. He could only abandon using his ice blade with his habitual right hand and switch to his left. By doing this, he had to temporarily abandon using his icicles, his offensive power almost reducing by half. He was still occupying the upper hand in such situation, and his dominance was even becoming more solid. It is after all the Northern Dark Ice Soul physique. Although he used Goo Worm to dilute his primeval essence and sealed the true advantage of the Northern Dark Ice Soul physique, the primeval essence recovery speed is still maintained. His advantage will continue to increase the longer the battle lasts. Fang Yuan looked at the situation and inwardly sighed. My current battle strength is not enough to defeat him. Fang Yuan calmly admitted this point. Fang Yuan only had C-grade aptitude with 44% primeval essence. Even the combined strength of B-grade aptitudes Xiong Li, Xiong Lin, and Xiong Zhang were being suppressed by Bai Ningbing. It was obvious that if Fang Yuan faced Bai Ningbing by himself, his situation would only become more difficult than Xiong Li and the rest. However, not being able to defeat you doesn't mean I can't kill you. Fang Yuan coldly smiled. This was the accumulated wisdom from 500 years of experience. Although they had similar reflections, compared to this centuries-old devil, Bai Ningbing was only a little devil forced into it by his cruel fate.